Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we are grabbing hold of, well, one of the most powerful forces in the world, compound interest.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not applying it to your retirement savings. We're applying it directly to your career, your skills, your whole life, really.
It's a total game changer when you see it that way.
It is, because if you look around, you kind of see two types of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have those who are just constantly hitting a wall, drained by routine, stuck.
Consumption treadmill.
Exactly. They're spending more energy than they're getting back.
Yeah.
But then you have the others, the ones who just seem to be building momentum, the ones who long-term shine.
And that's what we wanted to dig into. What is their operating system? Because it's not luck. The sources are really clear on that.
So it's a choice.
It's a choice. It's about which mode you're operating in. The default for most of us is what the material calls passive consumption.
Okay.
That's where your most valuable resources, your time, your attention, your energy are just, constantly being eaten up by immediate low-value stuff. It just leaves you depleted.
And the alternative?
The alternative is active accumulation. And this is a strategic, sustained mindset where every single decision, no matter how small it seems, is an investment in long-term value.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to basically lay out the blueprint for that.
That's it. We're breaking down the architecture, the key assets you need to invest in, and then the 14 principles that make the whole system work to help you make that switch.
All right, let's unpack that core choice then.
Yeah.
Consumption versus accumulation. What are the telltale signs that you're stuck in that passive state?
Well, passive consumption is really defined by two things: seeking immediate satisfaction, and this is the big one, deferral. You're always waiting for the perfect time to start.
The perfect time that never comes.
It never comes. Or you're just living by rules someone else set, your boss's schedule, your social media feed. You're just reacting all day.
So your resources are just leaking out.
Constantly leaking, whereas active accumulation is defined by strategic input, yes, but it's coupled with this willingness to act immediately. The person in this mode knows that delay is the ultimate enemy.
And that brings up a striking insight from the research. They argue that this habit of planning paralysis is basically the death of compounding.
It is, absolutely. The core principle here is that, and this is a quote, correcting mistakes is 100 times faster than waiting for the perfect time.
Wow. 100 times.
It's a total rejection of perfectionism. I mean, think about it. If you spend 5 weeks planning something versus just starting now, making mistakes and adjusting as you go, those 5 weeks you saved are a massive compounding advantage down the line.
So iteration speed is the engine.
It's the whole engine.
Okay, so if the mindset is all about sustained immediate action, what are we supposed to be investing all this energy into? This is the individual growth investment portfolio, right?
Correct. And you have to be systematic. The sources identify 4 specific assets. Think of them like 4 fundamental gears in your compounding engine. If one of them rusts up, the whole thing slows down.
Got it. Let's start with the high-yield ones then. What are these key compounding skills, the ones that give you the biggest return no matter what your job is?
So the research points to 4 bottom-layer capabilities. These are writing, communication, financial management, and programming.
Interesting. So not niche skills, but universal ones.
Exactly. They're amplifiers. If you get just a little bit better at writing, every single email, every report, every Slack message you send gets better, and that improvement just compounds across everything you do.
And the timing on this is crucial, isn't it?
It is absolutely vital. The sources basically warn that the earlier you start practicing, the faster and more stable the growth will be. You can't get that time back. Starting to learn about finances today gives you dividends in 20 years. That's starting next year. Well, it just can't match.
That really clarifies the priority. Okay, let's move to asset 2. Systematic knowledge. We're all drowning in information. So how do we turn all that books, podcasts, deep dive into actual usable personal capital?
This needs 2 very deliberate habits. The first one is to become the recorder.
The recorder.
Yeah. So when you're reading a book or listening to something, the simple act of writing down the key ideas is what the sources call the second absorption of learning. You're moving the information from just your ears or your eyes through your brain, through your hands, and into a system. That's how you turn passive listening into, active wisdom.
But what about actually remembering it? Because I can write stuff down and then forget I ever wrote it 6 months later when I need it.
Right. And that's where the second habit comes in, spaced repetition. So instead of cramming before the exam, you practice learning a little bit every day. You have to actively force your brain to pull that information out at different intervals. It's a method called active recall.
Can you break that down a bit? What's active recall in practice?
It just means testing yourself instead of just rereading your notes. You could use flashcard apps, like Anki is a popular one, that systematically show you a piece of information right before your brain is about to forget it.
So the struggle to remember is the workout.
That struggle is the workout. That's the compounding interest on your knowledge.
That's a powerful way to think about it. Okay, asset 3, connections and memories. This is the social and emotional stuff. How does this fit into such a systematic blueprint?
Well, these relationships are your long-term support system, and they're also your opportunity network. To build that social capital, you have to be the connector.
So be the one who makes the plans.
Exactly. Be the one who organizes the group chat or sends the dinner invitation. You become the hub. But the key principle is sincerity. Connections are maintained by sincerity, not calculation. Trust has to be the principal investment.
That makes sense. And what about the memories part of this asset?
This is your personal history. You have to document life. Take more photos, write short journal entries, record little videos. They don't seem like much now, but the sources are emphatic that these fragments become your most precious asset later on.
How so?
When you hit a rough patch, professionally or personally, that archive gives you context and strength. It lets you see how far you've come.
So memory becomes a form of accumulated wealth. I like that.
Yeah. All right, final one. Asset 4, health and mental energy. If the first 3 are about investing, this one feels more like defense.
It is. It's about preventing leaks.
Yeah.
This is the foundation. Without it, the whole thing just collapses. And the sources are, well, they're definitive. Sleep is the strongest superpower.
The strongest superpower.
Yep. And you have to live by the rule. Nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Yeah.
That one night of bad sleep doesn't just make you tired the next morning. It literally sacrifices a full day of clear thinking. It just halts all compounding.
And it's not just sleep, it's the small physical things too,
Yeah.
right? Oh, absolutely. The small physical leaks, habits like, bending over your phone with poor posture. It feels like nothing today, but it is a guaranteed drain on your resources a decade from now. Chronic pain, fatigue, fixing that tiny habit now is a huge investment in your future energy.
And I think the biggest defense, the one we all struggle with, is the mental friction.
It's a massive, unnecessary energy consumer. We have to learn to stop caring so much about things we can't control, and specifically, don't care too much about what others think of you.
Easier said than done.
It is, but the key insight is that most people are just thinking about themselves anyway, realizing that frees up so much mental energy that you are wasting on seeking validation, and you can reinvest that energy.
Okay, this is where it gets really strategic. We have the mindset, active accumulation. We have the 4 assets to invest in. Now we get to the execution layer, the 14 principles that are like the gears in the clock.
Right. And we can group these into a few categories to make them more actionable. Let's start with defining the game, the strategic input. It's no good compounding your effort if you're in the wrong game.
So what's the check on that? How do you know?
Principle 1 is the mirror test. You have to regularly ask yourself, what game am I playing right now? Do I still want to play it? If your effort is going towards someone else's definition of success, you're right back in passive consumption.
You have to own the rules.
You have to own the rules. And connected to that is Principle 9 about relationships. Kindness is always worthwhile. The idea is that kindness is always a positive-sum game. You won't regret being kind, but you will almost always regret being harsh. It's a non-negotiable part of building that social capital.
Okay, that brings us to the next category, action and simplification. This is about increasing that iteration speed we talked about.
This is how you operationalize action over planning. Principle 12 is simple. Act immediately without waiting for permission. You have to just normalize trying, failing, correcting, and moving on. That whole cycle is just faster than waiting.
So how do you clear the path to act that quickly?
You use Principle 13, which is a kind of simplification hack. Anytime you're facing a really complex problem, you stop and you ask yourself, if this thing were simple, what would it look like?
I love that. It cuts through all the noise.
It totally cuts through the self-imposed complexity that stops us from acting. It shrinks a huge project down to its first tiny, doable step.
Okay, third category, efficiency and resource management. Maximizing our value per hour.
Exactly. Principle 14 is about ruthlessly optimizing your time. So, optimize your time allocation. If you can learn something faster by reading notes, don't sit through an inefficient class. But, and this is a big but, the rule is you can't pretend to be self-studying when you're doing nothing.
You have to be honest with yourself.
Totally. Honesty about how you use your resources is key.
And this connects back to the mental efficiency thing, Principle 10.
Yes. Principle 10 is about ignoring the noise. Truly internalizing that most people are thinking about themselves lets you just drop all the psychic weight of minor criticisms or social media pressure. The energy that frees up is enormous.
Okay, last one. The opportunity network opening the system. Because it's not always a straight line, is it?
Not at all. That's Principle 7. Keep your door open, both literally and figuratively. If your life is too rigid, you miss out on the random conversations, the chance meetings, the serendipity that can completely change your trajectory. You need both structure and flexibility.
Wow. Okay, so this has been an incredible breakdown of what it takes to switch from being drained to actually building exponential value. We've got the choice, the 4 core assets, skills, knowledge, connections, and health, and then the 14 principles to run the system.
And the big takeaway is that you're not a passenger in this. You are the architect of your own growth. The difference between people who are flourishing and people who are stressed is just the consistency of these small, daily, micro investments.
It all comes down to the small choices.
It does. Every time you choose to use active recall instead of just rereading, every time you choose to sleep instead of scrolling for another hour, you are tightening the spring on your life's compounding machine.
It's all connected.
It is. And if you think about it, health and mental friction are the foundation for everything else. So here's a thought to leave with everyone. If you just decided to adopt the sleep is the strongest superpower rule tonight, I mean, really do it. And at the same time, you committed to ignoring what other people might think for just the next 48 hours, how much previously consumed energy would you immediately free up to reinvest into one of those 4 core compounding skills?
That's a powerful question.
That single decision is probably the most immediate, powerful lever you have.
Jeff,